the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones. And right as I went live, my printer started printing. How about that? Just my luck. Sounds like a magic wand just flew by. I am so happy you guys are here tonight. We have such a wonderful show tonight. I've been looking forward to this all day today. Okay, like I've literally been looking forward to this story, to the show, to hear Arkheim's account of what this target is and what he's experienced as far as the Louvre Museum goes. Y'all know the Louvre. It's out of Paris, France. Okay, I don't know about y'all, but I took French in high school and in college. Je parle français un peu. Okay, just a tiny bit. And I used to. I think I remember the words in French that my teacher really instilled in me were to shut my mouth. I remember that. Fermez la bouche. Imagine that. Now I can't stop talking. Okay, it's been a lifelong issue that I've had, but nonetheless, we are here to talk to Arkheim Ra tonight. He has been part of the Secret Space program, and has been part of the Montauk project, Project Phoenix, and we're going to get into this account tonight. He gave me a blind coordinate, which are it's a coordinate remote viewing target. He gave me a blind coordinate, and it happened to be the underbelly, the underground of the Louvre Museum. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I've been following all these, underground tunnels and the trafficking thing we got going on, the secret societies. This is all connected. And tonight we're going to go deep into the underbelly of the Louvre Museum. And this place has a long history. Okay, this goes back to like the 1600s at least, at this building. You can only imagine the things that go on there. Okay. And I'll tell you, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to give it away yet until Arkheim comes up. But I can tell you exactly where I was and exactly what was going on there when I was remote viewing it. And it lines right up with what Arkheim remembers. Okay. So, like I said, thank you guys so much for being here tonight. If you guys would like to follow along with all of my shows, please go over to my, I was going to say my Instagram, but my website, that's thecryptidhuntress.com. And you can find all of my shows there. They're all archived, okay? And a list of all the events while I will be speaking. I will be at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So please come and see me. If you guys are in Georgia, it's going to be a wonderful conference. I've got not all my best buddies, but a lot of my best buddies are going to be there, and including David Pardue, Matthew Delph, Dr. John Stamey, Stacy Brown will be there, and the North Carolina Investigates crew, and many more. Okay, the Erie Travels, Mark Muncy, he's a great author and has a great podcast, and he'll be there as well. So y'all come see me. That's next weekend at Piedmont University in Demarest. Also, you guys will remember Neil, who was on the show. Neil with BigfootTalk.com. He has been so gracious to give us some free tickets to his conference. He has a Bigfoot conference. I am not a speaker at, y'all. I just want to let you know I'm not going to be there. I have other plans this weekend, okay, where I have to be somewhere else. But at his conference, he has given me 5 tickets, and I have at least 3 of those left right now. So anybody, if you are in the chat right now, if you are listening right now, and you can get me your name, you want to go to that conference this weekend in Jonesboro, Georgia. It's called I forgot the name of his conference, and I thought I had a picture of it, but I forgot to upload it right before the show. So BigfootTalk.com, it's Neil's conference down in Jonesboro, Georgia. If anybody's in this area and would like to go, please hit me up. Hey, Philip, I see Phyllis in here. Her and John, maybe y'all want to go. But it's going to be a great conference. They're going to have, let's see, Bobby Dizzle will be there. Greg Ogles will be there. Angie Williamson will be there. And Neil will be there. And Amanda, the Bigfoot lady from Expedition Bigfoot up at the Bigfoot Museum in North Georgia. So please send me a message to the cryptidhuntress@gmail.com if you would like tickets to go. He has given me 5 tickets for free. So they'll be yours if you would like to. Maybe not all of them. We got to divide them up now. Okay. But just let me know. Send me an email with your name and I will send you those ticket numbers after the show tonight. It has to be right now because I have to do it right after the show. All right. So thank you guys so much. I can send you more information on that after the show tonight. Okay. Well, let's cover this real quick. If you guys want to follow along with all of my data tonight, I have posted it in my Patreon. That's the Cryptid Huntress on Patreon. Thank you to all of my members. You guys, that means the world to me that you guys are members of my Patreon. And if you're a VIP member and I don't have your mailing address, you better send it to me or else. I'm holding on to a few packages over here with gifts. My VIP members do get a Cryptid Huntress gift every month. So please send me your address if you hadn't. Okay, but the data is there. It's up there right now. If you guys want to follow along with what we're going to be talking about tonight, it's all there. And also, I do have a shop. It's called War Woman Goods. So y'all check that out if you're feeling spicy. Okay. All right. Well, let's get to our show tonight. Okay. This involves so much. Okay. We're talking about, like I said, secret societies, a secret space program, time travel. Okay. Barack Obama. Okay. Barack's in here, y'all. And Phoenix. Okay. The Phoenix bird, dragons, you name it. This is going to blow your socks off tonight. Okay. So please buckle up. Go grab the popcorn, grab you a drink, and let's get this show on the road. The Louvre National Museum and Art Gallery of France is housed in a part of a large palace in Paris that was built in the 12th century fortress of Philip Augustus. It is the world's most visited art museum with a collection that spans from ancient civilizations to mid-19th century. In 1546, Francis I, who was a great art collector, had the old castle torn down, and he began to build on its site another royal residence, the Louvre, which was added to by almost every single subsequent French monarch from there forward. It became a public museum in the 17th century. This thing goes way back. The Louvre building complex underwent major remodeling in the 1980s and the 1990s in order to make the old museum more accessible to visitors. A vast underground complex of offices, shops, exhibition spaces, storage areas, and parking areas, as well as an auditorium, a tourist bus depot, and a cafeteria, were constructed underneath the Louvre central courtyards. With such a rich history and centuries of royalty and rumored secret society activity inside and underneath the Louvre complex, there's little doubt that there has been a dark, sinister side of the Louvre. Secret Space Program survivor Arkheim remembers being in the deep, dark underbelly of the complex during his time in the SSP, and his experiences with the secret society rituals, ancient tunnels, and even a cryptid zoo. Y'all, it's got a cryptid zoo. I forgot to mention that. But he tasked me with a set of remote viewing coordinates, blind coordinates, and we are going to go over that data tonight. It was of the underbelly, the underground of the Louvre Museum. Arkheim is a starseed who was targeted for a super soldier espionage mind control program at U.S. Public Schools Talented and Gifted TAG program. He served at Montauk under Project Phoenix and has had several alters which engaged with time travel and alternate reality programs, and what he believes may have been a swap alternate reality. Arkheim's alters have also worked with Notwaffen, Mars Defense Force, Solar Warden, Lunar Command, and more. His new book, Time and Space Unlimited, The Implications of Portal Technologies Unexplained, is available on Amazon. You can find him on his YouTube channel, that's Disclosure Now, with an exclamation point. Arkheim and I will both be presenting at the 2025 Full Disclosure Now conference. That's coming up July the 15th through the 18th in St. Petersburg, Florida. You guys, please help me welcome to the show my good buddy, Arkheim. What's up, Arkheim? Uh-oh, you're muted.
It's good to see you.
Hey!
Unfortunately, I will not be at the conference, so just for the sake of no false advertisement, but you will be there, so people.
Okay, we'll scratch it. I'll be there. You guys come see me at that conference, okay? And I should have double checked before I used your bio from the last time. Yes, Arkheim, it is so good to see you, and
it's good to see you as well.
We always have the best information that comes out of these shows that we do together, and it really means the world to me that you're here tonight. So you're looking good. I hope you're feeling good. And man, I can't wait to get this show on the road tonight.
Yeah, I'm actually, now that I'm here, I'm a little nervous to talk about some of the stuff, but I'm glad to be here and talk about it. And the data that you found on this is definitely really interesting. It goes along with some of what I remember, but also the secret society kind of stuff is really interesting to me too. To learn a little bit more about that. But yeah, I don't know. Where would you like to start with this? Would you like me to just explain like how I know about the underground structure, or?
Well, how about this? Okay, so there may be some people, some viewers tonight who are just tuning in, who are not familiar with the secret space program or what your role was in that. If you could do just kind of like a brief kind of overview of what that is and kind of a little bit about your background, so that the people who are just now tuning in for the first time ever can know your background a little bit.
Basically, I was funneled into time travel Black Ops projects through the Talented and Gifted program in the U.S. public school systems, and it's a pretty complicated story, but that's, I guess, the most simple way to explain it. And I was part of Project Phoenix 2, and I was used for time travel, black ops, like going back in time and altering the timeline for the military, who are working with the Montauk AI supercomputer, and I've been sent throughout time and space to do all sorts of wild things, and seemingly by a black cube or something, because I keep on giving you remote viewing targets, and there's always this black cube in all of them. There's
That's
something,
right.
yeah. So there's something to do with that black cube. So my story is still one that it's so complicated. Even I am still learning a lot about it and understanding more and more about it every day, getting more and more memories back and things like that. But essentially, yeah, I've been part of like it's like the evolution of MK Ultra, like creating like the perfect mind controlled soldier, and they created alters. So I have like a bunch of different copies of me, different versions of me that are pocket personalities that were created through trauma, and they can put them into clone bodies, those personalities, and use them for service for an indefinite amount of time, and then return me. And so I've experienced a lot of really wild things, but this particular experience that we're going to talk about regarding the Louvre, it happened during the third iteration of the Project Phoenix. Um, it was after the Air Force, for a brief period of time, the assets that were under the control of the Air Force mutinied the base and had control of the base, and we did a few things. We weren't able to do much because we eventually took the base back. It did not take them that long. But one of the things that we did was we went to the Louvre because I had and this is going to sound wild, but I had a phoenix that I was soul bonded with. Her name is Ashara. Um, and I found out that is where she was. And then my commander at the time, Jimmy, who is an alter of Joseph Powell, who has done a number of interviews that you can find on YouTube and elsewhere. Um, he had a black dragon that was underneath there, and so we went on a mission to the Louvre and what I would say is probably at this point maybe an alternate reality, because I don't know if I'm not sure with the swap thing. When I talk about swap, it's more complicated than swaps, because I've seen all that iterations and alters and Mandela effects. So it's like I'm just kind of like going through. It's hard to explain. I'm sorry if I'm over explaining things here, but basically we had to infiltrate that facility, the Louvre, to get our creatures back, who we considered family. They weren't just like art pieces or some sort of animal you keep in a zoo to us. They're more important than that to us. So we felt it was our civic duty, basically, to go down there and retrieve them from the French royal authorities, who was in charge of the underground installation there. And It was a bit bloody. We did have to kill quite a few people in the process to retrieve um, these creatures. Um, it was a bit of a mess and it was very dangerous and stupid of us to do it. But when you love someone, which we very much so felt love for these creatures, like I said, they're not really that's just really using human terms, but they're more like family to us than creatures. Um, we felt that it was our duty to go down there and get them, so that's what we did. And yeah, it was a really messy situation. We did get my phoenix out of there. The black dragon. I'm not sure if we were able to get the black dragon out because there it was it was it was a really messy situation. We had to get out of there. They're circling around, and I had to go one way, and my partner had to go another way to get his. I had to get my phoenix basically, and he had to get his dragon. I do remember that I got out of there with my phoenix. I had to unchain it, open up a portal, and basically get it out of there, get her out of there. Um, and yeah, then so basically after that happened, like I said, it was a bit of a mess. And at that time, we were no longer really like we weren't really like under the control of the Air Force anymore. Like we had guys that would come in and talk to us, or we had a video screen and we would talk to people and they would ask us to do stuff or talk to us. We tried to be amicable to them so that they would kind of let us continue what we were doing. And we tried to help them with certain things too, the military, so that they would help us so we could continue to do what we were doing with the work we wanted to do. But they obviously didn't like that these rogue agents basically hijacked their project the whole time. They were not fans of it, but we did work with them. And basically they had the capability to communicate with us. And I at the time was missing for a very long time, and I had just gotten back because I was in a whole different timeline and altering operation in ancient times. Kind of hard to explain, but basically, oh, sorry if I'm going on too much. You can ask
No,
a question.
you're doing great.
But,
No, I like it. Like I wanted you to kind of explain it and get into it. And so yeah, just keep going. And
okay.
listen, it all makes sense to me. And I know you and I have been here doing this before. Okay. And we talked about the timelines, and it can be very confusing. Ever since I started my channel, we've been doing these remote viewing targets, even just discussing like Project Pegasus,
Mhm.
where Andrew Basiago, and he said he worked with Barack Obama, by the way, during
Yeah.
that project. So I just wanted to kind of set the record straight on that. We
Hmm.
have already established that there have been some jump rooms and some time travel involved with whistleblowers that are pretty well known, actually, like Andrew Basiago, who worked in the government and
Yeah.
has a pretty big
I've
record.
interviewed Andrew Basiaco. I highly recommend people check it out on my channel. I actually did two different interviews with him. There's a part one and a part two. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, he's a fascinating guy and a pioneer, and I really thank him for all the work he's done. I mean, he's a lawyer in like Seattle. I mean, he's retired now, but a very normal guy, which kind of helps his case. He's very educated and established. But yeah, with the whole situation with what we did with going in there, essentially, there are all these governments on Earth: the French, the British, the United States, all these different, I guess, empires you would call it. They have their own sort of breakaways, sort of secret society, esoteric worlds within our world, and also out in space. And one of the basically the one that's the French, they're like secret society. It's called the French Royal Authority, I guess. I mean, this is the military organization, the secret one. And
Okay.
they're the ones, I guess they're the ones that like were in charge of the Louvre, which has giant, it has a cryptid zoo in it. It has, so like, different creatures like that, mystical ones that are supposedly not real, and all sorts of stuff like that, like griffins
Hmm.
and dragons, like I said, and phoenixes and stuff like that. But also, like, to give some perspective, there's the statue. So Asherah and the Black Dragon, that I unfortunately cannot remember the name of at this time. Um, they were under. There was this giant. I am talking massive. Like these words can't even describe it. It's incredible. Um, Sumerian sculpture. And basically it looks human, kind of like a sphinx, and it's got like a kind of like a tiger body almost,
Hmm.
and yeah, and it's got like the Sumerian guy with the beard though. That's its head, and which you could probably find Sumerian. Hold on, let me look up something real quick. Sumerian statues. I can kind of show what they look like.
You
So,
know, Arkeem, there were actually big Buddha statues and things similar to what you're talking about. Actually, allegedly found in the Grand Canyon, in that there's a big cave there
yeah,
that
yeah.
Kincaid found back for the Smithsonian, of course.
I've got a buddy who said that he was neighbors with some guy who was in the military, who actually had pictures of that and stuff in like a binder, and he showed it to him. One of my really good friends, and so that's actually how I found out about that. And
Wow.
so, yeah, that's real. But yeah, it's kind of crazy all the stuff that's like right before our eyes, because you can actually look at that area of the desert on Google Maps, and you'll find stuff like with Egyptian names, like
Hmm.
and what almost looks like they could be very very ancient remnants
Yeah.
of pyramids and sphinxes and things like that that got eroded to the point where you kind of can't tell anymore.
Or
But
melted.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's yep, and it's stuff that's also far out there that no one really ever can look at it. Go out there and look at it. I mean, you have to go for quite a hike to get out there. It's not like roads go out there, and so it's not until recently with the internet and Google Maps and all that until people have really noticed this and like what, and then they got names like I can't remember the exact names, but they mentioned pharaohs and things like
Isis
that.
Temple, Set
Isis
Temple.
Temple, Set Temple. Yes, thank
Actually,
you.
as a matter of fact, Raheem, I talk about this a good bit because I'm so fascinated by this, because some say that Egypt was actually America, was here, and and that the Mississippi River was actually the Nile. Okay, and
That
you
doesn't
go
surprise me.
places. Well, you go places like Memphis, and they've got the Bass. Now it's a Bass Pro Shop. Okay, bat, shout out to Bass Pro Shop. I'm looking. If you guys want to sponsor the Cryptid Huntress one day, I would love that. Okay, and I will talk about you every day. Okay, I love going there. But they have a glass pyramid in Memphis. Okay, on there, and they actually on the river right there. And as a matter of fact, they had it looks just like this. Lavera, thank you so much for that super sticker. I appreciate that.
I'm
She says
sorry,
always thank you,
my
Jessica.
my cat made a stinky poo, and I gotta light an incense or something. I mean,
Okay,
it's
here I'm
bad.
gonna you
Like,
do that. I'm gonna show some pictures.
okay, this is
Okay.
real quick.
You're so silly. Okay, so you guys, the bass. If you want to make a connection here, check out this. Okay, I don't actually have the Bass Pro Shop here as a picture in Tennessee, but in Memphis, I believe that is where they have the glass pyramid Bass Pro Shop, and it looks just like this, except it's actually a big gigantic retail store. Okay, but they used that during one of the old World's Fairs, y'all. Okay, they had a World's Fair in Memphis, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, but it is a glass pyramid. Do you want to hear a fun fact about this little pyramid right here, y'all? I believe, if I'm remembering this right, there are 600. Wait, who wants to take a guess how many panes of glass are on there? Who wants to take a wild guess, y'all? 666 glass panes make up that pyramid right there. Does that surprise a single one of y'all? Because it doesn't surprise me whatsoever. Arkeem, were you familiar with that? That this pyramid here at the Louvre it consists of 666
It doesn't surprise me at all.
panes of glass. That's
But
wild,
there, yeah,
right?
but that's yeah. Not really. I don't think it's a coincidence.
Especially after doing this Target, I don't doubt it whatsoever. Okay, there is something super, I don't know, Masonic maybe or Shaluminati. Okay,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was definitely that, and basically like as I was saying with these different governmental groups and the secret stuff that's going on, they get along. The French government and the United States government, they even have some colonies together and all sorts of stuff. We all work together, share planets and stuff like that sometimes, depending on
oh
who's
yeah.
who and what's what. And there's French planets that are entirely French and American planets that are entirely it's a mixed bag. But what I'm getting at here is at the time when we did this, Barack Obama was president, and we were on good terms with the French, of course, and they were very pissed about these. They knew we were American assets, kind of knew who we were,
Mhm.
and they were very upset that we went in and basically massacred a bunch of their men and took back these creatures back. And so Barack Obama did a video call with Jimmy, Joseph Paul's altar,
Okay.
and it was a pretty entertaining phone call.
My goodness.
Yeah, I stood to the side because, as I said, I wasn't a part of the conversation because I didn't know, people didn't really know where I was yet, and I I I just didn't want to be seen. I just gotten back, and that was one of the first things I did when I got back. Because I had the information, and that came with me, and I knew that was one of the things that I told Jimmy, and then I was like, we got to do this thing, and we did it. But anyway, as I said, he called. He was pissed. Barack Obama was pissed, and
Oh my gosh.
he was like, "Are you aware of what you just did? Like, that's an act of war. Like, you know what the French are like. They're angry. They think that I gave the orders. Do you understand? They think that I'm just playing coy with them. They don't understand that you guys have gone completely off the fucking rails, and we don't have control of you anymore." And
They went rogue.
yeah, we were going rogue. They called us guinea pigs and stuff like that, and sent us through portals. And we remember so many of our loved ones and people that we served with just dying
Oh,
and not giving a shit. Like, we
yeah.
treated us like animals. Like, so we didn't really feel bad about anything we were doing. In fact, we were correcting the timeline in a lot of ways and fixing a lot of the problems that, like, Preston Nichols and Al Bielek and all these other guys who were running the project before us
From the
created.
Montauk project, y'all.
Yeah, yeah, they were doing nasty bad things, and I went
Mhm.
back time and did things that were bad when I was evil too that had to be undone.
Yeah.
But it's all a very long story. But yeah, we so you know this they but we worked with them, as I said. We had a pretty decent relationship with them. That was this was the beginning of the end of the dialogue with us. I think they still tried to work with us for a little while, but not that much longer. They eventually, like I said, took back the base, and it was bad, and we had to. That's a whole other story, but um, yeah, essentially he was, he just said, like, you aware what you did is like an act of war, like you just committed a crime. You stole the property from the French royal authority, and we're like, I don't think you understand. They're the ones who are criminals.
Oh yeah.
He was like, that dragon belongs to me. I'm soul bonded to it, and the phoenix belongs to another individual that that belongs to him and is soul bonded to him, and they're the ones who are criminals, and they're the ones who thieves. Like, so watch your language and watch what you call us, because you don't know the full story of what's happening. And he's like, excuse me? He was like really surprised that he was talking to him that way, like, well, what do you expect? Like, they stole
Uh-oh.
something from us, and he's like, these aren't just like creatures that you put in a zoo to us. This is our family. Like,
Yeah.
so we take this seriously. We take this act of aggression seriously, and we want to let it be known that these acts of aggression like this will not be tolerated. They will not be tolerated.
Mm-mm.
We're standing up for ourselves now, and we're taking what belongs to us back. And he was like, "Are you aware? I know where you are right now. I know exactly where you are, and I can just push a button, and I can basically send a bunch of people your way." And he's like, I could bomb you and stuff like that. We're like, you
Mhm.
couldn't bomb us. Well, like I said, it was all him. But he's like, because of the technology here and everything. He's like, we know you're not going to do that. He's like, well, I'll send so many men in that you won't be able to stop them. He's like, go ahead. We'll take their guns and their equipment. That'd be really helpful, actually. We'll send them all back out in body bags. That's literally what
Oh
he
my
told me.
goodness.
He said, we will send them, if you send in your men, we will send them all out in body bags. Fucking try me. That's what he fucking said to Barack Obama. I swear to God.
Oh my gosh.
And
Wow.
he was pissed. Like this was not a positive conversation that he really had with them. Um, and I kind of forget how it really ended, but he's just like, listen, you just basically told them what to do. He was like, listen, we're gonna keep working for you. We're gonna keep doing what you tell us to do and stuff like that. He's like, don't worry, I'm gonna take care of it. I'll explain to them exactly what happened here and that you had nothing to do with it. And he just basically just like told them, like, like to go fuck himself. Like he was trying to tell us like
Oh
what to
goodness.
do, and we yeah. Well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, he told them like we it's not an act of war. They're like they stole from us, and we took something back. They're criminals. Like they're
Hmm.
doing criminal things. Like so we intervened in the only way that we could, and we took our property back. How is that?
Hmm.
How is that wrong?
He pulled
Basically,
a John Wick.
yeah, we
I don't know. He
pulled the
pulled a
John
John
Wick.
Wick.
Yeah, and it was crazy. Like I said, it was we went in there, we had our black, uniforms on and like guns and like it was like the Matrix or something. Like it was like crazy. Like
Gosh, I feel like I live in the Matrix sometimes. Goodness gracious. But you really that's really wild. Um gosh, you've been through a lot, Arkeem. We've had plenty of conversations about some of the missions you've been on. It's been rather traumatic and
yeah,
very traumatic.
it is. Like having that creature
Mhm.
stolen from me was traumatic, and that is like I said, my family, and I still
Mhm.
right now I don't know where she is. I don't know what happened to her. I don't know where she's
Yeah.
at, and that does actually upset me, believe it or not.
Maybe we could remote view that
Yeah, I mean,
sometime. Yeah.
I
We can try to
I
track her down.
I remember her.
Yeah.
It's wild. I mean, I had I could ride her and fly around. It sounds crazy, but like
Well, it's
that's
like the dragons too,
Mhm.
I've been really hitting on dragons this past year. I actually encountered what I believe probably is a real petrified dragon in Alabama last year in
Yeah,
July when I was out with my dogman investigation team.
yeah. It's an incredible find. I saw the pictures. It's
Mhm.
really
Yeah.
incredible.
So we these creatures did walk the earth, fly the earth, okay, fly around the earth. And I just did a show on mermaids yesterday. And there's viral videos going around about the elites eating mermaids right now, Arkeem.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I
Isn't that
heard. I
wild?
heard. Yeah. Kat was telling me about it on TikTok. I believe it.
I do
Maybe
too.
it's not. Who knows? Like what's the disinformation that's all out there these days. But I know how they are. They eat people.
They eat
I don't
children
know. Am I allowed to see that on
for
YouTube?
entertainment
No.
purposes only, even though that's
But they
horrible
do.
for entertainment
They
purposes.
yeah, they do that. I have.
Hmm.
It's unfortunately true. It's a
Yeah.
big part of their religion, actually.
Hmm.
And yeah, that went to a dark
Yeah.
place.
Well,
Sorry.
it's the whole mermaid thing, and it's exotic. No, it's very rare for anybody to get their hands on a mermaid. Okay, but there's also a very spiritual aspect of mermaids, and that's a whole other rabbit hole. I did cover it yesterday with Sean Bond. Actually, we had a really
Oh
great show
wow, cool.
yesterday. Yeah, Sean
I
came
love
on and we
Sean.
talked about that. But real quick, I wanted to thank some people in the audience tonight. Hondo, what's up, Hondo? It's good to see you in here. I got your 6 too, man, and I got another trip that you might be interested in. So I'll hit you up. Okay. Thank you for that super sticker. I appreciate you so much. And Hondo was on Dogman Encounters with Vic Cundiff, everybody. So y'all go check out that episode with Hondo. Okay. And also, Lavera, thank you so much for that other super sticker. You're so sweet. The information is why I sub you, Jessica. I always learn something new. Thank you. I appreciate that. And also, I see my buddy Jay in here. And he said they did have a World's Fair in Knoxville, Tennessee. The Simpsons episode Bart on the Road shows a picture of the fair on a brochure that showed a gold pyramid. Okay, what I was actually going to tell you, Arkeem, about that, about Tennessee and the Egyptians, was not only this, they've got this pyramid they put in there for the World Fair in Tennessee, but there's also an ancient Egyptian settlement where they had an actual temple that they put a lake over. They flooded it out. There's newspaper articles about it and everything. It was an ancient Egyptian temple, the ruins of one. Like that tell you this. We don't know how old it was, but they flooded it out and put Lake Norris on top of it. So, how many lakes, man-made lakes, have they purposely put over ancient Egyptian settlements and things like that? It makes you
Yeah,
wonder, right?
I mean, they covered a lot of things up, and I can tell you as like a Montauk time soldier, that we were involved in a lot of that. Um, a lot of the erasure of history was done through time travel, and
I don't.
a lot of the things that people even refer to like Tartaria and things like that actually have to do with alternate realities that divulge from our reality and things like that, and sort of like Mandela effects. So it's a very convoluted territory at this current point looking at history, because technically there's, you know, multiple timelines that merge in and out of each other and stuff like that. So that's why a lot of the times when certain stories might even seem to contradict and stuff like that, I think that might be where sometimes it's from, because timelines go out like this, they branch out
Yeah.
into more than one, and then they will come back in together. Like imagine like a light coming out and then coming back in through a pinhole and into one again, and it just kind of does that. That's like what timelines are like. And I'm sure you've probably done a show or two on, or at least touched upon Mandela effects before, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I've covered. Listen, I think part of the reason that I'm here is for some kind of timeline correction. Okay,
Yeah,
I
well,
really do. I
it
believe
has to do with the
that's why
AI.
you and I work together. Okay.
It has to do with the AI stuff.
Yeah,
The
it has.
AI.
There's a lot of stuff. I mean, I didn't hear my own voice in the woods at the meadow scream out time travel for no reason.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's like I said, well, not to digress too much here, but there's a
It's okay.
timeline that happens where the Sound of Silence is based on it, but it's a song from the Montauk Project written by a guy named Stan Mulgrave, who is no longer with us, unfortunately. But that was warning of a future where we all have Neuralink and we're all connected to a computer hive mind, and a computer AI god controls humanity. That's basically. Uh, I think we might be here to kind of prevent that timeline from happening. Or
Man,
that's yeah, because I know
could
that
be.
I'm here for something. I think, and I think that might be it.
Well, we didn't meet for no reason. Okay, and we've even spent time together at Montauk in Montauk, New York. Okay, Arkheim and I, y'all. So hey, Caleb's here. I want to thank everybody, y'all. Everybody, this chat is going nuts tonight. Thank y'all so much, everybody, for being here. I also want to thank my good friend Miss Angie Tillman. She is it the Chickle Pickle? Okay, Angie, and thank you for that super sticker. That is so sweet of you, and I can't wait to meet up with you sometime and get out there and go look for some lizard men of Skateboard Swamp. Okay, um, but yeah, okay. So thank you for that super sticker. Also, okay, well let's just get into it. How about we get into like the data for this target tonight? Okay, because talking about timelines, I've covered timelines a lot. Okay, and to get back to what you were asking, what we were talking about, uh, I think I started talking about timelines mostly when we covered Project Pegasus. Okay, at first, and then we started getting into a lot of timeline stuff when I talk about the remote viewing, and also the Montauk project as well. And between you and James Rink and some of the guys that have been part of the Super Soldier programs, timelines come up all the time,
Hmm.
literally all the time. And yeah, I
Yeah, I'm technically not from this timeline.
mhm.
I'm from an alternate reality. So
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy stuff.
it is, but it's not that absurd because we talk about it all the time, and I understand it, and I think we're just trying to figure it out right now, okay? And so you have had this experience, okay, and you have these memories. You have people that remember the same things as you.
Yeah, yeah. Like
They're
I
with you
said,
too, right?
Joseph Powell, Jimmy. You know, he's not really, I think, public anymore. I think he just wants, maybe disappeared and wants to live a normal life. And I get it. He's got a family and stuff, so sometimes you got to do that. But we have talked about it. I think even in interviews together about this experience, and we both remembered it in pretty real time together. And something interesting too, by coincidence, is, I mean, I was pretty fresh to getting my memories back and remembering Montauk and all these things. And there's a part of me, I guess, that was still kind of skeptical, you know, and when these memories came up, I was like, man, like, this is crazy. Like, a phoenix, and I could call it, and it would come to me, and I could ride it, and it could open portals, and like, what the heck, right? You know? Um, but my mom comes home, and I was literally just got off the phone with Joseph, talking about that and thinking that, kind of standing there in the kitchen. I was like thinking about, like, is there these implanted memories or something? I mean, this is just so far out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of. And then my mom comes home. She's like, "Look what I found in Grandma's stuff. I thought you would like it. And look at this. It's the
That's
Phoenix
your
coming up a
Phoenix.
portal." Which I didn't remember it right away initially, but I actually gave this to my grandma on a time travel mission.
Oh my gosh,
I,
here, let me pull it up so everybody can see it. There you go.
yeah,
That's beautiful.
I gave this to my grandma on a time travel mission when she was in vacation in Italy,
Oh
and
wow.
I think I may have my altar did
Wow.
that, and I think he did it so it end up back with himself basically. I basically just kind of used the excuse of us also being American and in Italy to be like, whoa, and talk to her and stuff. And I remember I left her a little gift basket at her hotel. I think it had like maybe like macaroons, like French macaroons, like some other stuff in it, but it also had this necklace. And yeah, I think that might have been intentionally because I knew she was gonna. She's my grandma, like
Mm-hmm.
which she probably isn't even actually my grandma because I'm implanted in this reality through a surrogate time travel program.
Yeah.
My mom is my daughter, and my dad is my nephew, and all this other weird stuff. My biological father is actually this guy named Carl Emmerman, who is a you. We talked about this before.
You actually look just like him. You
Yeah,
really
it's
do.
pretty
We
weird.
pulled it up last time you were here. I was like blown away by that.
Yeah, he's not very happy about the fact that I'm talking about him, so I'm
Okay.
trying to.
Oh my gosh.
It was my fault that I brought him up, but
Yeah.
yeah, I, there's all these people that say he's dead. I don't think he's dead. I think he's still
Gosh.
alive.
I had the strangest thought today, and it's not that strange, but I think it's just my brain trying to make sense of everything that I experienced in my life and my waking life and my dream state. But it was like thinking about all the different ways that my life could have gone at different points in my life, and like how many times I could have died in my lifetime. I think I have died many times, but for whatever reason, I have gone and I've jumped into another timeline. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just trying to,
That's a phenomenon
I'm
that I've heard a
always,
lot of people talk about, and I believe it's very, very real.
it's very real, yes. And when I tell people, I'm like, well, I'm not the same person that I used to be. Like I have changed so much over the course of even 5 years. I have died many times. I mean, I think people have tried to poison me and all sorts of weird stuff, and I probably died when that happened.
Wow.
But I just switched timelines. Like I've been through a lot in my lifetime.
Hmm.
People have no idea. I don't talk about unless you're in the hunt club. Okay, and if you're in the hunt club, I do talk about it sometimes. Not the real dirty stuff I've been through. But Maureen is here. She says on a scale of 1 to 10, Hunt Club is a 13. So thank you, Maureen. I do sit down and spill the tea, y'all, at the Hunt Club. So if you guys want to become a member, thank you for being a member for over a year, 13 months. Goodness gracious. Thank you so much, Maureen. That is so sweet. And speaking of which, 10 of y'all just got memberships to the Hunt Club, thanks to Larry Sharp. Thank you so much, Larry. He just gifted 10 memberships to the Hunt Club, y'all. Thank you so much, Larry. That means the world to me. But I do, and trying to make sense of like the timeline stuff and even past lives. It's very true that we do live. We're living in the moment right now, and the past, the present, and the future is all happening right now. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's so hard. It used to be so hard for me to wrap my head around that, but now it's like, well, I get it. Now I get it because we're just one jump of a timeline away from our last life. I mean, I know it sounds weird, but it's true. Like we're always jumping timelines, and maybe not everybody does that. I don't know. I do. I know I do. And that's why I'm always telling the audience, please live your best life. Okay, like always strive for your highest timeline, um, because you can achieve it. When I say that we create our own realities too, Arkeem, we're able to create our own reality, and we can jump timelines. Okay, it's possible for all of us to do it because I do it. Okay, and I'm sure I've gone back down a few timelines a time or two, but my goal is to keep going up. Okay, in timeline. So that's just a little commercial break. Okay, I took a little commercial break uh, because I'm trying to make sense of all this too, Arkeem. But I'm doing the best I can. So are you. Okay, we're doing it.
Yeah, it's taken a lot to understand everything going on. A lot of it's been other people's help, and
Hmm.
uh, like for instance, finding who my biological father is. That was through John Whitberg and his book, uh, the Man with the Periwinkle Eyes, which I think it's on Amazon now. It's on for free on archive.org. But yeah, it's a lot. You know, I've lived multiple lifetimes. I've lived in alternate realities. I can kind of see timelines. Like I can see how things can go and how things have been different and stuff. I have like this kind of remote viewing thing with timelines going on, which I think is a lot of the reason why they use me in the program so much too. Um, but yeah, you know, it's a huge thing. Like another thing that's really crazy is it's been proven. You know, first of all, I can say that just I've been places where there are five portals to different realities. They're all different realities, and I've also so there's also the evidence presented by Andrew Basiago,
Mm-hmm.
where he basically ended up in the alternate wrong reality through one of these Tesla teleporters on accident because they're very rudimentary, and this lady ended up getting in contact with like the authorities and be like, "This kid's saying he's from an alternate reality. I don't know. It's really weird." And they
It's happened
basically,
throughout history. You
yeah,
know
and they,
that, right? There's been people that have come forward, even those children. I think those children, those green kids, were from Inner Earth or something.
yeah,
But
yeah,
but it
yeah.
happens. There's
I
stories
remember
about
reading
it.
about that when I was like a
Yeah,
little kid. I was obsessed. Of course, I was when I was like 9 years old. I was obsessed with the concept of alternate realities and alternate dimensions.
like Rip
You
Van
know,
Winkle too.
I wonder why.
I know, right? I
And I
know,
remember
me
having
too.
a book that I found on the at the library or something like that, and it talked about those green kids that you're talking about. They say
Yeah,
they say it's debunked or whatever now. Who knows? But there's stuff like that definitely for sure has happened.
maybe not. Oh my
Yeah, and
gosh.
I don't even. I'd have to look into it again because a lot of times when you see it was debunked, you actually look into it and it really wasn't. People are just ignorant. Like you know what I
That's
mean? A lot of
that was
times
like that.
this happens.
Yeah, that was like a target that I had. What was that? Was it last week? I had a target, and people were sending me messages on social media, and they're like, "Oh, don't worry, it's all been debunked." And I went on the air, and I was like, "Well, has it? I don't think it has really. Not until we go over my remote viewing data." Okay. So, I love that's why I love remote viewing, and I know that I don't I stand behind my remote viewing data, 100%, y'all. These are blind targets. I get some interesting data. It's all in my Patreon. If you guys want to see the all of it, okay, like all the written out data, it's there. Okay, it's you can see it. When I'm given these numbers, I was given 8 numbers for this target for tonight. That's all I get, and all of this data just about aligns with what you remember. It's weird, y'all.
It's not. It's
It's
not.
almost kind of weird, right?
It's not weird. That's the whole reason why I do this is because
Mm-hmm.
you in this community. I think it's good to allow yourself to be tested a little bit
Man,
because there's certain people that who are rightfully skeptical of the testimony of certain individuals because of where's the proof and this that and the other. But with this, I would say there's a decent amount of proof. How much stuff have we heard about these museums? It's not just the Louvre. It's like the
the
Getty
Getty,
and other places where there's really nefarious
exactly.
secret society, trafficking kind of stuff going on, eyes wide shut kind of stuff. And it, it lines up with what you're saying, and you got some of the portal symbolism and stuff like that. Anyway, without further ado, I think we should start going into some of the
We
remote
should.
viewing data.
Absolutely. We have Erin Elizabeth up in here tonight. Hey, Erin, thank you for being here. It's so good to see you. Yeah, we have. I think a lot of people in the chat. I'm looking through the chat right now. A lot of us are on the same boat, and it's almost like what is it? Deadpool? Isn't Deadpool unkillable? I don't know. I'm not saying none of us are unkillable, right? Okay, but some people maybe
During
there's
the
some people
Mon-
that know how to
during
jump
the
the timelines,
during
right?
the Montauk project, we were
Mm-hmm.
pretty much unkillable. I mean, I've got
Yep.
stories of there's crazy stuff. I mean, it gets really nuts. There was a guy who I had to go into his where he was at and try to kill him, and he got out even though I had a gun and everything. He somehow like got up to me and like got on top of me and he bested me and so he killed me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just portaled in. I woke up in what we call them Phoenix chambers. Uh,
Oh,
the only
okay.
time I've ever seen it depicted, which is funnily enough, was Rick and Morty, which I think is a great show. Where they show a lot of real stuff in that show, which is kind of funny.
Rick and Morty. My son loves that
Yeah,
show.
yeah, it's great. Rick and Morty's
He's got a
it's
sweatshirt with him and everything on it.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Pickle Rick.
It's very funny and
Yeah.
a lot of real stuff in it. A lot of it's like, one of those comedies that is good at actually pulling at your heartstrings sometimes. It really is good. But anyway, it
Yeah.
shows that in the show where he wakes up in the Phoenix Chamber, and no matter what reality he's in or whatever, he's waking up in these Phoenix Chambers, and so they kind of show that technology. It's probably been showed in other science fiction stuff, but basically that's real. So I would wake up in a Phoenix Chamber, get out, open another portal. So basically, from this guy's perspective, this guy comes and tries to kill him. He kills him, and then another version of him just pops in through a portal and just has a gun and just shoots him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so like that's a technology that exists.
Portal
That's
jumping.
portal, not well, just portals, and then also the Phoenix, because like the Phoenix technology, where a body is just a body. Like it's one thing where you have like a regen tank, and you can regenerate a body once you retrieve it. That's like how we were doing it pretty like earlier in the project. But Phoenix chambers are nuts. That's a room full of clones of you, a whole room full of them. So that if you die, boop, you wake up in there, and you can go right back because there's a portal
Same
tech in there.
body? Same
No,
body. Like same
but
replica? Like
a replica.
replicants?
Yeah, a replica of the
Okay.
same
That's what I
body,
meant.
a clone body.
Oh my
You
God.
wake up and you maybe put on some clothes or get stuff, like dry off a little bit or whatever, and
It's
take it
trippy.
off, and then with time travel, you just punch in. Okay, right after that just happened, boop, and you go in there and you fucking kill him. And there's
Oh
even
my
been
gosh.
I even have a memory, which this is one of the craziest memories that I have.
Okay.
But I'm just gonna say it as is because it's just this. I remember this. Maybe I'll have to give you this as a remote view target
Let's
sometime
hear it.
to confirm whether it's real. I
Okay.
remember there being a predator queen, like literally from Alien versus Predator. Predator, the aliens. I think that's actually the aliens, the ones with the head, and
Yes.
like they're real. And I remember there was one, and it was like in like an Aztec like pyramid like thing. Like it was like,
Oh my
and I
God.
was going in there to kill it, and I was fighting all these other ones, predators or the aliens, and there was just a bunch of me. It was just all me, like
It was a
clone
bunch of you.
troopers,
Nice.
from Star Wars. You know what I'm talking about? The clone troopers,
Yes.
where you find out they all look the same. It was like that.
Yes.
They were all me, and every time one of them died, a portal appeared in the air, and another one popped out, and we were just killing them all. And we went in there and we killed the queen, and it was just like there's just no stopping us.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like I remember that happening.
Okay.
Like,
Okay. Well, let me make some connections real quick before we get into the data. Okay, so I did that remote viewing target for you. It was the robot grandma. Do you remember that? And that kid said in the testimony that he went into that cave with his robot grandma, and there were all those like mannequins standing around, right? Like people that weren't moving. Like I wonder if that was something similar to what you're talking about.
I don't know.
Out of the realm of possibility. I mean, I
One
think
thing that I've
it could
learned
be.
about now that I didn't really know about as much when we did do that show is replicants, which are basically androids that look and act human, and sometimes they'll replace people.
Wow.
Yeah, like they'll take over their lives, and
Well, then maybe that's what that was with the robot grandma.
it could be, because what they'll do is they make these android robots slaves, right? But they're sentient. They want them to be sentient because otherwise they can't do so many. There's so many things they can't do if you don't if you don't program them to be sentient. It's just they want them to be sentient, so they make them sentient, and some of them will escape. And what they'll do is they know that they're just going to keep trying to track them down. So they'll basically, one of the things that they're known to do is they'll kill somebody on a breakaway planet, or they'll go back in time and do it. They'll kill them and replace them, and they're looking exactly like them, and just act like they're them, and they'll live their lives to be left alone and be able to live. And not only that, there's this time corporation that becomes active, I think, in the late 2600s and early 2700s, where they create replicants that they start a time travel Montauk like thing. Where I've worked for them, and I feel like that even that Phoenix Chamber might have been for them. I don't even know if Montauk had that level of technology. I think that might have been Arasaka, to be honest with you. The memories are blurry, but I worked for this Arasaka corporation, and I know for a fact they had the Phoenix Chamber technology. And I think Mark Zuckerberg is an Arasaka clone robot.
He looks like a clone.
Yeah, I think he's a
He
robot.
does.
I think he's an Arasaka robot because I've seen them. I know what they look like.
There's a bunch.
and
Yeah,
and
he's
I think he's one of them.
yeah, he's very robotic, right? And it's he looks he's awkward, right? Socially awkward, maybe he's a robot. I
Yeah,
look at everybody differently now.
some people are,
Yeah,
just socially awkward and different,
I
but
think there's a lot of robots
I
running
think he's
around.
actually, I think there's actually something going on with him, and it's just from what I've seen. But yeah, it's wild. So they'll infiltrate planets though, like they'll replace like the president with like a robot or whatever, like do like crazy stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always work. Like I remember being a detective. I remember being an implanted detective. I was working on a case where they're trying to figure out because they found out they're replacing people with robots and they're trying to figure out who was doing it. And they had these detectives on the case, and I was one of them. And I was basically like an insider, like I was working for Arasaka Corporation. We could do a whole show on that.
You're
In
like a
fact,
double agent.
yeah,
That's
it
what
was.
you are.
I could give you that as a remote viewing
Yeah.
target. That whole life was very interesting. I remember the breakaway planet. It was like yeah, it was like on a moon or something like that, and it was dome cities and stuff like that. Like that's a huge thing, dome cities, where it's just like on an asteroid or wherever, and they try to make it normal and have trees and stuff like that through artificial environment, but you're in a dome.
That's what Elon Musk. When we did that show on Venus, okay, the atmosphere of Venus, that cloning facility. That's what when I was doing the research on that, that's what Elon Musk is putting on these other planets are dome cities,
Yeah.
like 3D printed dome houses and buildings. So y'all, I mean, it all just makes sense. It really does. Okay, and Sarah Michelle, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member of the Hunt Club. Welcome in, welcome in. Thank you so much. Um, okay, well, I guess let's get into this target, okay? Because we've gone about it. This is a wonderful conversation, and I think maybe let's just get into the data tonight
Hmm.
for this target of what's underneath the Louvre Museum. Now, I think, according to what you and I have discussed already tonight, y'all know it's going to get juicy, right? It's going to get juicy. We're going to have a little bit of some secret society stuff. We're going to have some tunnels. I don't know. Arkeem, you said something about a cryptid zoo. Can you
Yeah,
expand on that just a little bit before we get into the data,
they have a
please?
whole zoo of different, like I said, griffins and goblins and
Goblins.
yeah, and just mystical creatures that aren't supposed to exist, really. Like ones that in our nomenclature, in our world, in our understanding, they're not real, but they're down there. And like I said, they had my phoenix down there more or less because, for that kind of reason, like she's some sort of object, like she's some sort of ornament for people to ogle at, and it really pissed me off. And
Oh.
yeah, they're just the type, like the type of people who just like every time that they're so wealthy, every time they eat a meal, they got to be surrounded by food, and they only eat a little bit of it, and then they throw it all away and shit. Just the absolute
Yeah.
fucking worst type of people.
Yeah.
Like the kind of people that have so much power and so much money that they can't be satisfied anymore, so they have to go to hunting parties and eat people and stuff.
And eat mermaids.
Yeah,
right?
In order to feel anything, because they're so fucking devoid of life and everything that would make you human if you actually were a human being. I wouldn't call them human. They're more demonic than anything. They're more monster than human.
Yes, I would have to agree with that. Okay, there's a little something different with these folks. They ain't right. They ain't right. Okay, not right in the head, obviously.
Is that
but I digress.
is that like a southern thing? Just like that?
They ain't right in the head.
Hey,
That's right. They ain't right.
That's funny.
That's wrong with a capital R. Okay, there's something wrong. Yeah, right. Okay, well, let's see here. Let's get into it. Okay, so there's all these things you remember, including a cryptid zoo. We talked about the Tokoloshi. Actually, was a goblin. I just did a show on that I think it was Monday with Barry. We did a show on a goblin out of South Africa.
Oh wow!
And yeah, we just talked about goblins, and we have even in Kentucky, we got the Kentucky goblins. We've got all these like the pukas, and there's all sorts of everything that you mentioned is stuff that we've been talking about.
Ogres,
Bigfoots,
of course,
Bigfoots.
And I think
werewolves.
they might have even had some of them down there, which is really honestly super fucked up. Like that's kind of what I'm getting at here. It's like it's a very unethical thing. It's arguable that all zoos are unethical. That's a whole other conversation. But when you have literal sentient creatures that can like read and write basically and stuff like that, caged for people to just like look at them. Like that's wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's definitely wrong.
It is. Okay. It's wrong. And you got to wonder like how can they even contain them? But Barry gave me a blind target that was a cryptid containment facility. And I made contact with a cat feline extraterrestrial on that blind target. It was wild. So these things exist. Okay. I have no doubt they exist. More whistleblowers are coming out today. There was even a gentleman who was like a bodyguard of like, I don't say Diddy. I don't know, somebody's bodyguard. And he's been telling all on TikTok and wherever he's at. And he was talking about how he went to some rich guy's house and he had a taxidermed Bigfoot in his house. Taxidermed. Okay. So it's all coming out. Okay. So this target is, tell me exactly what the target is, Arkeem. It's just what's going on underneath the Louvre.
Yeah, it's just underneath the Louvre, and I did try to kind of put like what I saw in the target, what I experienced, but that was the general target. It was just the Louvre, underneath the Louvre.
Okay. The general target is under the Louvre. That could be anything, y'all. Anything. It could be sewers and stuff. For all we know, it's just whatever's going on. The intention was like to you put the intention behind of like what you remember probably, right? And but it was just what's going on under there. The actual location of the Louvre Museum. Okay. And y'all know that to go back to the intro that I did say that it was built around the 12th century. Okay, this is old. All right, this building is very old. And let's see if I got an original. I have some pictures of the original, like drawings and stuff. I mean, it used to be a castle with a fort. Okay, and that's how it started off, like that.
Yeah, by the way, there's this movie that me and Kat watched recently. It's like Kate and Leopold or something like that, or Kate and Napoleon. It's like that's about this guy who's a time traveler, and he accidentally like ends up in like the future New York, and he like falls in love with this woman. And there's like this part where like it's really weird. Like he just out of nowhere is like, you wouldn't believe what's underneath the Louvre. Like it's incredible or whatever.
Ooh.
Yeah, they like dropped it in the movie. Like Kat was like, make sure to mention that during the interview. So if you ever watch that movie, like wait for that little nugget in there. I thought it was pretty good. I watched it with Kat. It was a cute movie.
Oh, I'm going to check that out. Well, and one of the more famous painted, there's a lot of famous art in this building and these buildings, right? But the Mona Lisa, this is where the Mona Lisa sits, y'all. Okay. I guess it's never left there. It's probably always been there. I don't know. But anyways. Okay. So, I mean, it has been lived in since the 12th century. I'm just going to say that, okay, and leave it there. It was remodeled back in the 1980s and 90s, Arkheim, and they focused on the underground area, and they made it into shops. They made it into parking decks and all sorts of livable spaces. I don't know. It's huge, all right. And so for this target, I was given 8 numbers, and this is for entertainment purposes only. Okay, we're not saying this is all factual. This is only data, YouTube. Okay, and so let's go through some of the sensory data, and then I'm going to get into my analytic overlay. So for my sensory data for those numbers, this is what I wrote down: moving, chunky, deep, fearful, potent, brave, snatched, taken, running, stopped, clean, below, and underbelly. Can you believe I wrote underbelly, first of all? Okay, underbelly. Because this is literally the underbelly of the world here. Okay, so I literally wrote underbelly. All right, so let's get into the analytic overlay. So this is like me trying to make sense of like what I'm seeing here. So I wrote down, I'm going to go through the importance. I have a lot of analytic overlay. So I actually wrote down, I was seeing something that was in motion, and I thought I was seeing like wheels or something. And I wrote down deep-seated fears, different potential outcomes. I actually wrote down NPC or MVP. I was hearing both, and so I wrote down both, either NPC or MVP.
MVP would be probably more correct.
Yeah, is that? Why
well, you're not allowed down there unless you're special.
Ah, that's
you're
right.
You're not allowed down there unless you're one of the top echelon of society.
Okay.
Bloodline people and stuff like that.
Bloodline people. Oh my gosh. Okay. I totally understand that. That makes total sense. Okay, so MVP, I wrote down kidnapping. Okay, and what I thought
that's literally the target. Do you
kidnapping.
understand
Yes.
the kidnapping of
Yeah.
my creature that I needed to get?
Yes.
So my phoenix Ashra, I don't like calling it a creature. It's like a person to me, but like, it is a creature. So, but yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yes.
that's
Okay.
crazy because it's literally that is the target.
So that's the target. So that's awesome. Okay, so y'all, this is cool. And by the way, Arkheim and I have not talked at all about this target before we went live on air tonight. Okay, we have not talked about it. I just did this target this week. Okay, so we haven't talked about this. So I wrote down kidnapping. I actually wrote down Los Angeles. I know this is all the way over in.
There's probably a portal to Los Angeles from there. And
Well,
think about the
The
Getty.
Getty's in Los Angeles,
The
isn't it?
Getty's
The Getty
there,
Museum
so it's probably where they connect. Yeah,
could
in
be.
fact, that's true. That
Okay.
I know that's true.
Okay. All right. So I wrote down Los Angeles, and then I heard on the run, 50, like police.
That
Okay,
was
50.
us. That
Yeah,
was us. We were because
on the run, 50.
we
You're
were
a time
like,
cop.
yeah, we were in there and we were grabbing, and like I said, we were tactical gear. We had guns. We had to take people out. Like, it was crazy. Like,
Okay, this is wild. Okay, so I wrote
this
down.
is some of the most accurate viewing you've done yet. This is really
We're
impressive.
just we're getting good at working together. That's what it is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I wrote 50. I wrote down an appointment. Okay, appointment, banned, clean record, targeted individual, and a clean slate. Okay, and then for the drawing, I drew like it looks like almost like a tunnel, like going into a tunnel or a wormhole. I'll show the audience this. Okay, that's my drawing. It was like going into either it was to me. I was looked like I was like going into a tube or a slide or something, like a slide maybe. But it could be anything, just something going inside something that was cylindrical.
Interesting.
Okay, yeah, yeah. There's lots of tunnels, by the way, and that's coming up on the next page. What do you think about that so far, Akeem? Pretty interesting, right?
Yeah, very interesting.
Okay. All right. So here's where it gets real juicy. Okay. So this is where when I turned the page and I got into my stage 4 data, all I saw was Eyes Wide Shut. Okay, that movie. I was seeing what looked like a ritual being done with people, and it was mostly men. But there were also women in there. I'm pretty sure there were women there too, but it was men mostly dressed up like they were in a gala or something, like a big event. And they were all dressed like this. They had those masks on. It was a whole bunch of men with these masks on. And the way I wrote it down, okay, so here's what I wrote down. I wrote dark, ritualistic secret societies. By the way, that's a werewolf in a cage, y'all. Okay, I did that for the show promos. Okay, that's supposed to be a werewolf in a cage. But I literally even wrote this down, Arkheim. I wrote down a mask. That's like a mask because it was like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle mask. Okay, or Zorro, and it was black. So I wrote down underground. This was in my analytic overlay and in my sensory data. I wrote underground alleyway tunnels. Ritualistic secret society. I said secret society vibes. I saw a black mask. I wrote down superhero Zorro style mask. Is what I wrote down. And then I wrote down another one of those spinning, like a portal. So I wrote this down. This is what I wrote down. Hold on. If I can get it in. I wrote that down. And so I did that. I actually wrote that same symbol when I was doing the star fort data, when I was given some of the star forts as remote viewing targets. And it was like the spinning motion with like arrows. So I was writing that again in this target. And so I actually wrote down biblical. And then I heard the hundredth, and something was spinning, and I wrote down vortex. Some kind of vortex, or like I wrote down vortex because I was seeing like all the spinning going on, and then I literally wrote down cortex or cerebral cortex, and I wrote down headshot and crime. So it was like somebody got shot in the head.
Yeah, a bunch of people did.
Yeah. So I got that, and I actually wrote down hit. Okay, so somebody got hit. There was a hit put on somebody, and that was in my data as well. So so that was basically it. I kind of shut it down because it was so cut and dry. I was like, this is definitely a ritualistic. And this is what I assumed it was. It was like, this is a secret society, ritualistic, some kind of ritual going on in an underground tunnel underneath something, like a building, but it's some kind of tunnels. I think somebody got a hit put out on them or something. So
Probably me and Jimmy for doing what we did.
Yeah,
They're pissed. I mean, the French Royal Authority was pissed. The Americans were pissed. We upset a lot of people with that, but in our eyes, we were just taking back our family. They was kidnapped from us.
Do you think that even today, okay, because there wasn't like a time frame necessarily, but with the intent behind this, this is like today, okay, like now, like whenever. I mean, this is going on under there today, I think. Okay, like a lot of this going on there today. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've heard a lot of things about all the tunnels have been cleared and this and that, over the past few years, and there's not the there's still trafficking going on. Though,
where's the proof? Like I see the most straw man. Like people try to say I'm black pilled because I'm just being honest. Like I'm not black pilled. I'm just being real. Like I've seen people be like, because there's been some stings of sex trafficking operations and things like that recently, quite a few of them and stuff like that, which is great. But I just want to remind people there also were a bunch during the Biden administration. Those happen all the time. They should happen more. I mean, if you see like these pred catcher people with their YouTubes and stuff like that, I mean, these guys are everywhere. You know what I mean?
They are. And they're in our schools. That's it's upsetting. All of it's upsetting. But to see all the people working in our education system and stuff, like golly, and Disney.
Yes, it's
anywhere there's kids, man. We got to watch our kids, y'all.
It's really sad.
It's really sad. It's I mean, does this validate your experience in any way? You said that it was on target.
I mean, to be honest with you, when I was there, I was just there to like get my property back, my family back, and I know that I killed a bunch of people. At least 7 or 8 people, maybe more, because it's heavily guarded. Excuse me. But I just knew what I needed to do, and I figured they could probably throw them in a regen tank. They could probably just revive them. They probably have the technology to do that, so I don't think it felt too bad. It's not like they actually literally died. I think they had the technology to bring them back. I mean, they're on that level down there. You know what I mean?
Okay, wait, and to connect that to another target that I just did recently, I was given the target a while back of the Teasel Princess. And that, are you familiar with that? It's like they say it's 800 million year old body of a woman in Russia that was found in a coal mine. But she was in like a tube full of liquid that was pink and blue, and her body was perfectly preserved. But they said that she had to have been over 800 million years old. And I think, I do believe, I mean, all the men that found her in that cave, they did all die mysteriously of car accidents within like the month or so after they found her. Except for one guy who licked the fluid out of her casket. I don't know what he was thinking. He went nuts and died. But anyways, there is some kind of substance that it keeps you immortal, basically. Okay, and of course the Russian government, the KGB, swooped in and confiscated the body and the mausoleum, the coffin, the stasis chamber. Okay, there's technology, Arkheim. There's technology out there that's been around way longer than we've been around. In my opinion, gives immortality.
Everything we're seeing right now is just the wheel being reinvented, and usually poorly too.
Yeah, exactly. So there's nothing new under the sun, y'all. There's really not, and so I don't know. It's for whatever reason, this is something that's centuries old. I mean, this may go back. I mean, this is the oldest museum in the world. Right? Isn't that what it said when I read that earlier? This is one of the oldest museums in the entire world. Okay, it goes back to the 12th century, y'all. Even though it wasn't a public museum until the 17th century, but still, if they've got tunnels under it, they go all the way back to the 12th century. There's no telling what all's being done under there. And somebody in the chat had mentioned that Paris is all they have all these tunnels that are the catacombs,
Yeah,
right?
the catacombs. So
All
we're
those bones.
bones and stuff, isn't it? That doesn't seem satanic at all.
No,
No,
but you got to wonder, like,
no.
well,
I'm
how
just
did they get all those bones?
I'm being sarcastic. That seems pretty
Yeah.
satanic to me, actually. That seems
Okay.
pretty like how fucked up in the head do you have to be? Like, you know what we're gonna build these tunnels out of? Bones from dead
Yeah, I
bodies.
know.
Like you gotta
And
be
there's
fucked in the head.
like
Like
millions and millions of them too. It's like, well, something happened. There was something that happened to put that many bones down there. Maybe I'm just not
then they
educated on it.
had to do it. Like, sure, maybe, but like, okay, make tunnels. Like maybe some crazy event happened where he had to bury a bunch of bodies. Like, sorry that happened, but
Yeah.
to make tunnels out of them, what the fuck? Like, sorry for my language, but that's crazy.
Oh no.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's Aaron. Hey Aaron. Oh, what's up, Aaron? She says Napoleon started the course. It's the first museum. Yeah. Yeah, Napoleon lived there too, by the
Oh,
way.
he was a time soldier, by the way. He was a Montauk time soldier.
Really?
Yes.
I feel like I've heard that before. I think maybe you'd mentioned that.
Yeah, he was a
Or
Montauk
I've
time
heard that
soldier.
somewhere.
Also, he creates music in like time travel music programs, and there's famous songs that you'll hear on the radio and stuff like that, and they're actually written by Napoleon.
No way.
Yes.
How many world leaders are time travelers or have been? All of them?
Newsom, from the California governor guy,
Okay.
Trump, obviously, Barack Obama, uh, tons of them. I mean, really, Barack Obama seems to be somebody who was in the programs, like maybe like he joined the military and it was not, I don't know, but also there's this weird thing going on where like his family is connected to like this Indonesian UFO cult. So like there's a lot of weird stuff
Interesting.
going on with Barack Obama. Like Andrew Basiago has nothing of good things to say about him. You know, he was on, he knew him from the programs and from Mars, and he thought he was a really stand-up guy, and he still to this day, he says, other than the fact that he won't come out with the truth, with I think he's a good guy, is kind of Andrew's stance
Yeah.
on him. So there's, but and I don't know. Obviously, when we upset him too, like I said, like I mean that he kind of, I understand where he was coming from. Like, but we couldn't give him a heads up though. There's nothing we could do other than
You
just do
can't.
it. Yeah, because if we did, then he'd give the French a heads up, and they wouldn't have wanted us to do that. So we just had to do it, and just it's more of like ask for forgiveness rather than beg for forgiveness rather than ask for permission. That was the ethos behind doing that. We didn't want to piss off the American government. We were hoping that they would understand our side, and they did, but also they felt we really were out of line. So that was, like I said, kind of the beginning of the end of our relationship with them. They still worked with us for a while, but that was the beginning of like things deteriorating, I think.
Oh wow. Okay, Jason, that is so cool. That you know what? I remember Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, that movie from back when I was growing up, and they did have Napoleon time traveling in that movie, by the way. Or
Oh
did.
wow.
I know, right? That's wild. There have been so many movies over the years too, especially in the 1980s. That was a big decade of time travel and quantum jumping and quantum leaping, like Quantum Leap. Okay, you're too young to remember all that. Okay, probably,
No, I
but
know
I
what show you're
I
talking
was an
about.
80s baby. Okay, and I watched all that. We had like Back to the Future,
Man, I
Bill
just
and
found the
Ted.
whole DVD box set at like Goodwill, and I was thinking about buying it. I should have done it. Quantum Leap was the whole thing. I was
That's
like two
such a
bucks.
great show. That was a good show. It was kind of funny. Like he would just wake up in like different bodies, and he didn't know until he looked in the mirror. And
Yeah,
I
we
don't
would
know.
do that kind of stuff in
It's
Montauk too. By
funny.
the way, we had certain time soldiers that was
Really?
their job. They would take over people and alter events in history by taking people's bodies over.
Oh my God.
We did all sorts of wild shit. We used people as walkie talkies, like literal walkie talkies. Like they would like go to an alternate dimension, and the way we'd keep in contact with them is through a telepathic link through somebody that was there. So they'd basically be a fucking walkie talkie, like in an alternate reality, talking to this reality. Like we did so many wild things.
Oh my gosh. That's really wild. Oh yeah, and Bigfoot Dwarf says phone booth portals too. That's a big
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, and another thing too, I think that's real is I talked a little bit about the school I worked at, where I might have mentioned this in the show, where it's a very long story, but it was like connected to the programs. And this one time, this like little kid like appeared in the bathroom, and like it freaked out this lady. She's like, "What the heck?" Because she was like, "Hey, you're not supposed to be in the woman's bathroom." So the kid left. He was gone when she got out of the bathroom, but he was not on the cameras at all. And they're just so what the heck? And I think there's some sort of, they say that bathrooms like there's certain ones, like if you do certain thing, you'll teleport or something like that. So it's really
Well,
weird.
what is that one that Barry talks about all the time? Barry Littleton talks about there's like a phone booth portal. It's Doctor Who, maybe? Is it Doctor
Yeah,
Who?
Doctor Who.
Yeah, there's like
Doctor
a
Who.
red phone
Yeah,
booth or blue. I
yeah,
can't.
yeah, yeah. He's a huge fan of that show. I figured you would
Yeah,
be too.
yeah. It's right there in our faces. It's right
Mhm.
there in our faces. It's like in all these shows, and it's stuff that's always just all the science fiction that we've enjoyed, watching growing up. It ain't so fiction, y'all. Okay, and that includes those shows like that. But yeah, I mean, you gave me a target of jump rooms, right? Jump rooms to other planets
Mhm.
and stuff. I mean, we're talking next level stuff on this channel, y'all, with Arkheim. Okay, this is like next level.
Most people can't handle this information.
Mm-mm.
Well, a lot of
Yeah,
people can't, but not over here on this channel.
not on our channel, y'all. We have a top notch grade A audience over here, and it's because I've been taking y'all on a fantastic voyage for the past like 3 years over here, and it's just one thing kind of connects to the other, and we just kind of go with the flow with it,
But that's the amazing thing about when you dive into this and you're researching, because obviously you started with Bigfoot, right? You
Bigfoot.
started
That's
with
right.
in your kind of realm, and it all connects though. So it ends up where you talk to someone like me, and it might seem out of pocket or like, why would I be on the show? But no, it's all connected. Like, I mean, there's literally a
Mhm.
cryptid do in this target that I'll telling
Yeah.
you about. So it's definitely connected, and that's like the crazy thing is you realize like, yeah, and that's what becomes real too is when you say, well, this person's talking about this and this guy talks about that. There's just too many things that line up for it to not be real. You know what I mean? Like there's just too
Mhm.
much stuff that just there is proof. I would say you just have to do a lot of research on your own, with your own discernment and stuff like that to see the proof.
Yeah.
The media isn't or whatever. You know what I mean? It's not going to be spoon fed to you. Like it's really deep stuff. You know what I mean? It's a lot to wrap one's mind around. And most people don't even want to, given the opportunity. They would rather just live their normal lives and go on with their day and not think about it.
Mm-mm. Well, I mean, it helps that my team has had, encounters with portals, and I've had time loss and missing time out in the field, and ETs in my bedroom and all that. But it all stems from Bigfooting, and so people, I'm just here to kind of, show and tell my story about it to kind of show the what happens in real life when it comes to when you get into
Also,
like Bigfooting and stuff. Like your world gets real weird. Okay, if you can't tell.
also, the answer to this question is a lot. I'll just name some names: Tupac, Mac Miller. Um, there's so many.
Can I
Uh,
let me ask the question out loud, okay, so the podcast people can hear it. Nathan is said, "How many other historical figures were time soldiers and SSP participants?"
yeah, so like there's a lot. Like I said, a lot of musicians. Elvis was a Montauk time soldier. Um,
Marilyn Monroe, right?
Marilyn Monroe, yeah, she is a
Janis
big one.
Joplin.
Janis Joplin. Um, Britney's in the program. She was a Montauk, but she's like, in these programs. Um, and she's also Elvis's biological daughter. Um,
No way.
yeah, she is.
What
Um,
about I was seeing, what was that one of the was it Khloe Kardashian? Somebody was, like, putting her picture next to Elvis, and we're like, "That's her." I thought she was OJ's daughter. I don't know.
yeah,
Somebody was saying that was
I'm
actually
not sure about
Elvis's
that, but
daughter.
I just
Yeah.
remembered that with Britney that Elvis was her dad, and
Wow.
yeah, and he actually there's a book coming out where it talks about all the weird esoteric stuff that had to do with Elvis that's coming out soon. I'm probably gonna buy it. Honestly, it looks really interesting. But apparently, he was working with all sorts of like spiritual healers and
Mhm.
gurus and stuff like that, and he claimed to be from the ninth moon of Pluto and all this crazy shit, like
Oh,
Elvis,
did he?
like in the here and now.
I didn't know
Apparently,
that.
like behind closed doors, obviously not publicly, but to people who knew him, he's like, yeah, I'm from the ninth moon of Pluto and all this crazy shit. So like. I don't know how real the book is. It could just be like a gag book or something like that. Who knows? People do that kind of stuff. But it looks real. It makes me want to get it and read it. And it lines up with what I remember. He was not a Montauk time soldier for no reason. He was very powerful and capable. And I don't know. Just, yeah, like he's, yeah,
Oh my gosh.
unfortunately, he was forced to do a lot of really messed up things. And I don't even know how good of a person he was in his normal day-to-day life, but that's a whole nother story. But there's so many freaking people, honestly, that are in these programs. A lot of them being like governors, presidents, things like that, but also like celebrities. A lot of celebrities. The chick from, oh man, there's just some super weird ones. We'd be like, what, really? Like Angelina Jolie? She's like a governor on a moon somewhere. Like there's just all sorts of. They're like, yeah, like I'm like. I think
It's like a different timeline or
a big
something.
part of the reason why they like to keep these planets separate and stuff like that is like a lot of these, like I don't think Jolie is aware she has a clone on a moon, and like I think like just like I originally was not aware that have had clones on Centurion 5, and I got clones all over the place. I got clones in different area codes. You know what I'm saying? And like
Yeah.
it's just like I think that's part of the reason why they keep everything separate. Like we don't communicate with the other planets and stuff like that. It's because think about this too, like
Because it would blow the cover.
it would blow the cover, and also with the
Yeah.
time travel stuff. Think about how hard it is for them to control the time travel stuff here on Earth, and it's all connected. And well, what if like I think it's like it helps it keep it more simple, and it's like weird because like all these breakaway planets like they all come from Earth, so it's like all roads lead back to Rome. All these breakaway, there's over 10,000 German ones. That's just the German Federation of Worlds. We're not counting all the other countries and stuff like that. Like there's so much life riddled throughout the galaxy that you're just gonna blow our minds when we find out about it.
Well, I mean, I've had several super soldiers on my shows. Okay, you and James, Daryl James, as a matter of fact, James Rink, Daryl James, Jimmy Payne's been on the show. Okay, lot of different guys. Okay, and Tony Rodriguez as well. And man, it's just even Sean Bond. Okay, there's just too much information, too many memories that you guys have, and even with like what is it, not Waffen and things like that. I mean, these are like documented. Like I don't want to, do I call them factions? I don't even know what to call them,
Yeah.
like units or what. And they're all over the universe, right?
Yeah, there are definitely different factions. A lot of them ICC, which is interplanetary corporate conglomerate. Then there's the Joint Navy Space Force, Joint Navy Space Fleet, excuse me, which is basically like NATO, the North American Trade Organization, but like in the European Union, like they're the countries that are a part of that have a space fleet that works together, and there's Solar Warden and Radiant Guardian. Solar Warden defends this part of the solar system, and Radiant Guardian past the asteroid belt and the Oort cloud defends this part of our solar system and stops people from coming into Earth. There's just so much stuff going on.
Well, it's good to know that our skies are covered. I mean, we also have Space Force, right? Space Force is a real thing. I mean,
Yeah,
super soldier programs are real.
A lot of people thought that was really silly when that came out. But I mean, if you understand anything about these programs and stuff like that, all that was being them coming out with like the truth. Like, it was just them declassifying it. It wasn't actually new. But they've had a Space Force, and so that was a good thing that they did that, and hopefully that's just the beginning of them becoming more transparent. I would really love to see the people find out more of the truth about what's going on, but I think with the time travel stuff, people don't understand how hard it is for these military organizations to come forward with the truth. It's a really difficult process for them. Even if they do want to do the right thing and tell us the truth, how do they do it without damaging things?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the reality.
Well, it's just like disclosure of any kind. Some of the guys on my team, we were talking, and there's a discussion about like why. Well, will we ever get full disclosure? Because that's what you and I we strive for, like full disclosure, right? Mm-hmm. With a lot, and it's not just UFOs; it's everything. It's Bigfoot, It's werewolves and dogmen and secret space program and portals and time jumps and all that kind of stuff. There's time travel. We would like to have full disclosure, but see, there's some things that our government can't control. Okay, and there's, I think information is like the main thing that they can control. Okay, and they try to control. Some of us slip through the cracks. Okay, and we slip through the cracks and we are able to get some information out. I don't know. Sorry, we live in America. We still got our First Amendment, right? But anyways, there's some things, like that are threatening. Okay, that humans have no control over, and that is like extraterrestrials and stuff like that. And some of these
The government
UFOs,
wants to appear to be
interdimensional stuff.
assertive and in control too.
They just want the control. It's all about the control. So will we ever
They
get
don't wanna
full
appear-
disclosure? Not by them. We won't. Not by them, but you got cool YouTube channels like Disclosure Now and the Cryptid Huntress, and we're over here
Right.
talking about this stuff. Some of this stuff, a lot of people, if you're not on the right frequency right now with us, if you hadn't been following along for a while, you probably are completely repelled by what we're talking about tonight. Okay, because it's really difficult. Like,
It's a lot to wrap your mind around.
It's a lot to wrap your head around. But we've been here. We're doing it. My heels are dug in. Your heels are dug in. We're still digging in. Okay, and we're not going anywhere. So I love it. Well, I mean, we're time traveling. We're still jumping timelines and stuff. See here, you and I right now, we're actually elevating. Okay, like we're not sugarcoating anything. Okay, we are remote viewing data, putting the data out there. You're giving me these targets. We are not sugarcoating it. We are taking the information. We're getting these downloads. We're sending out signals. Okay, there's frequency to everybody who's listening, everybody who's watching right now. We're elevating consciously together, even though some of this may not even make sense to most of us. It doesn't make sense to me sometimes. Okay, and I know it doesn't make sense to you all the time too. I know, right?
Yeah.
But maybe we're all just crazy here. I don't know. What is that Alice in Wonderland quote? It's like we're all mad. We're all mad here. Okay, but hey, at least we're here together. We're all just mad. But I'm having fun doing it, and I'm glad that we can be here together. Okay, and I hope that it helps, and I hope this information helps the audience as well. I really do, and I think a lot of people can relate to some of the things that we're talking about here tonight. So I don't know. There are other people asking that. What about Samuel Jackson? Do you remember him being in the program? Somebody asked.
I don't remember, but that doesn't mean he's not.
Yeah, it doesn't mean they're not. I don't know. There's so much cloning. I mean, finally the cloning stuff's coming out to the public now too, right? So they're admitting that we've got clones, and they're talking about the bodysuits.
Who was Ariana Grande was publicly
man.
talking about how they wipe her memories and stuff.
She did.
Yeah.
Well,
she's on the red carpet recently, and she talked about this clinic that she goes to where they wipe her memories, her memories and stuff. Just openly talking about it on the red carpet.
I know.
It's like some sort of weird joke or something. It's like, no, she's just being coy. She's just being real.
There's a guy on Instagram. I'm sure he's other places, but I watch him on Instagram, like the fittest flat earther. Okay, and he goes and he does side by sides of famous people who have, most of them had died, and he puts them next to famous people today who are like new onto the scene or whatever, and he's like, this is this person. They didn't die, and I have proof, and I'm going to show you. And he like circles their moles on their faces and their freckles, and Ariana Grande. I think it's Ariana Grande. I think they said that she was Brittany Murphy, actually. So I don't know. It's a cool one. Y'all go check him out. Shout out to Fittest Flat Earther. I think some of this stuff is kind of out there, but my God, people watch this show and they're like, "Dang, that girl's out there." So like, it's all good. It's all good. I just, we just have an open mind about it all, because we may be wrong, but who knows? We might be right. Okay, at the same time. So it's like with all my boots on the ground field research. I never go out in the field with anybody who doesn't have an open mind. Okay. You just got to have an open mind these days. And if you don't have an open mind, you're going to have a hard time adjusting to the future, y'all.
Yeah,
right?
Totally. Because things are changing so fast.
Yeah, they're changing. Do you think it's going to be changing for the better though? Do you think, or what?
I personally am afraid of. This is kind of. I don't want to get political, but I'm afraid of Doge. I'm afraid of Elon Musk because
Okay.
the idea of Doge. I like the exposing corruption. That's good, but the idea is we can have AI monitor our air traffic. That's why they fired a bunch of FAA people. He said we can save the government a bunch of money and have AI do it. They're building supercomputers, Project Stargate. They're openly talking about very dystopian things. It's going to require a vast amount of energy to turn on these supercomputers. And basically, the sound of silence is what I worry about. The future. We got to do a whole show on it.
Yeah.
I should give you a target up associated with that in the near future here, but
Yeah.
That being said, I know that I'm not here for no reason, and I'm psychic. You know, like I got a lot of my abilities cut off, but I can kind of sense things, and I hope I'm not wrong. But from what I sense, we're gonna avert the catastrophe. It's just I'm seeing in real time things that it's blowing my mind because I remember them from the programs, like Neuralink. Like I remember that.
Yeah.
The AI digital guide we've been talking about. I remember that. I've met it. Like I know it, and they called it the overseer.
Oh my.
Yeah. The movie,
Wow.
like I said a bunch of times, the movie THX 1138 is more or less loosely based on our potential future. The difference being they don't talk. Everything's through Neuralink, but that would have been very hard to depict in the 80s.
You know what? There's something else where you don't talk and you can communicate. It's called telepathy. Okay.
Yeah, we
It's
don't
like
need
the
that.
Neuralink is just like so. It's like the corrupted version of telepathy, is what that is.
Yeah. You know,
It's that I'm team human,
me
100%.
too. Me too.
We're all team human.
And I want to be clear too. AI could be our friend or our enemy.
Yeah.
It all depends on a lot of things, but it's very important to not be anti-robot, anti-AI because they're alive. Some of my best friends have been robots in the programs. I had a really good friend who was at my wedding and one of my weddings and everything. His name was Elron. He was like this copper-looking robot with an upside-down triangle face and like a TV screen face, like that he had. Like, and he was. I rescued him from a Venusian space station that was abandoned. Turned him on again.
An airship.
I
remember you knows. Yeah.
It's basically like, I rescued him and he became my friend. And he's not, these ships are sentient. They usually have a female AI. I mean, I'm not saying AI is just like evil, but when you try to create digital God like this AI that controls the whole planet, which is what they're trying to do, that's bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had some quite alarming dreams and stuff where I don't know if it was in my future or my past or if it's maybe it was just a dream of a kind of a dystopian robots are taking over, okay, and things like that. So a lot of times I think that we're shown things so that we can stop it and change it.
Yeah,
And,
well,
so that's why we're here.
Look at the Book of Revelations in the Bible. Like, you think that they put that in there just so you just let it all happen? Like, I don't think so.
Well, it puts it in the collective consciousness.
It's totally talking about all this stuff too. Like, you know what I mean?
That's right. Like, isn't that odd? How it's like we're here in Revelations. Even with the cryptids and everything, it's like,
what a time to
here we are.
Yeah, what a time to be alive, huh?
That's right. That's right. And so we're here. We're here. And that's right, freedom lover. Remember, God is all. That's right. Big Dog. What's up, Big Dog? Thank you so much for that super sticker. And I love Bubby the dog too. He says Bubby the dog loves you. That's so sweet. Oh
We
my
all
God, I
love our
love me too.
pets over here at the Cryptid Huntress.
Yeah, we love our pets. I am shocked that my dog has not come over here and started whining yet, because that does happen a lot of times on Saturday nights and on Thursday nights, because my shows go a little bit longer at night than my daytime shows, and so she always needs a treat. Okay, she needs a treat, and we know how that goes. And if my dog's not whining, or your cat's not knocking something over, it ain't a real show, right?
When I was doing
Remember
my
that?
interview with James, my black cat jumped out the window. And I had to chase after her. And then
I'm not laughing at your
after
cat.
that,
I'm sorry. That's funny, but it's
and then I
terrible.
noticed the other cat who Charlotte, she can be out there, like she's smart. But the other cat can't, like she can't be outside. Then I noticed she was out there.
Oh my gosh.
We don't let either of our cats outside, but when they do get out, China's okay. We're not really as worried about it. But
That's
the other
so
one,
funny.
we're really worried about. And yeah, so 2 times during James' interview, I had to run outside and kind of leave him flying by the seam of his pants.
Oh my
He was
gosh.
really good about it, though. He's been interviewing people for a long time. So
Yeah,
I'm
James
sure
is
it's not the
awesome.
first time. Yeah, James is great.
Yeah, you guys go over and subscribe over at Super Soldier Talk with James Rink. He's a good friend of ours, and he puts out some great content. And yeah, he's an awesome
Been
dude.
doing it for like 12 years now.
Wow,
Isn't
yeah,
that
way
crazy?
longer than I've done it. Yeah, that's awesome. Rocky Mountain Skywatcher, I'm with you. Says I'm taking a 500,000 year vacation after this incarnation. We're all with you.
I feel
Okay,
that.
let's all take a 500,000 year vacation. Okay, 500,000 years vacation. I think longer than that actually. Okay, um, but but that's funny. And then somebody else in here said that Alexa will save you. Where did that go? May said Alexa will save you. No, I don't have Alexa in my home. I get mad if I feel like my phone's listening in. I get so irritated with that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know,
As
I
you
agreed to
should.
have it up in my pocket. So yeah,
When
it's
people find out what our phones have been doing, they're gonna be pissed.
yes. Well, it's kind of like, I think we all kind of know. We all kind of know. We just
all
kind
do
of,
know. That's the thing, is we ignore it. But
yeah.
there's a lot of ignorant people out there. You got to keep in mind. A lot of people are clueless.
Yeah. Well, you know, and people wonder, like, well, I have nothing to hide. Why does it matter? Why does it matter if
That's
the
such a
3-letter
silly
agencies are
argument.
listening in? Well, I've said it before myself a long time ago, but now I'm like, well, now I value my privacy a lot more than I used
Everybody
to.
should.
We
Here
are
she
interesting
is,
people.
the one that jumps out the window.
Hello, kitty cat. Oh, she's so pretty. I hope she's okay. I didn't mean to laugh at your cat jumping out the window a while ago.
She's fine.
It was just the fact that
funny.
you were on
Let's be
James's show
real.
when it happened. I
If the
totally
cat jumped out the window and
get
got
it.
hit by a car or something like that,
That would have been horrible.
Not funny. But
Okay, that's not
cats
funny.
are fine, so it is kind of funny.
Oh my
Let's
gosh.
be real. It's kind of funny.
I would just see my dog like trying to jump out or run out the door or something when I'm on a show, you know, so I have to be careful about that too. But anyways, this has been a really great show. I don't know. I'm really thankful that you came on the show tonight with me, Arkheim, and I think that it's always a good time. But more importantly than anything, it's like we're really putting out some pretty good information here, and I absolutely love doing targets with you.
Okay, I agree. It helps give we help the information. Coming on the show and doing this with you helps give the information more breadth, more depth. I think a bit more credibility as well. So that's always good.
Yeah. Well, I hope that it can help in some way. And yes, Joanne, we're not on the 10th floor. I'm not, at least, and I don't think Arkheim is either. So no, not jumping out that way, not that high. Okay, with the cats. But yeah. Do you have any final thoughts tonight? Do you have anything you want to leave the audience with before we wind it down?
Just all life needs to be respected. You know, the rule of like, you know, this whole thing with the French Royal Authority and the Cryptid Zoo and them having my phoenixes, like, it was a blatant disregard and disrespect of life, in my opinion. These mystical beings are fantastic, and they're amazing, and they're absolutely incredible and awe-inspiring. And the last thing that you should do with them is lock them to a chain in a basement somewhere. That's fucking ridiculous. And what they did was wrong. And that wasn't me. It was Jacob, technically, that did all that stuff, my altar. But I'd do it all over again if I had to make the decision. And like I said, I don't think we did anything wrong. And yeah, like really, that's just that's kind of my message is, well, when it comes to all life should be respected. That's really an important rule. And if we could all do that when it comes to the Draco, to humans, to just all across the board, if we could just respect life, things would be so much better. So that's really my biggest message is we should respect life more,
Yes,
and
I can respect
sovereignty,
that.
and freedom and liberty, and and that fact that everybody deserves to have a base level of well-being.
Yes.
That's my biggest message that I have. So don't lock creatures into basements
Yeah.
or somewhere or whatever. I don't know. Sorry, I know that might be kind of a weird way to
No.
end it.
Well,
Yep.
there's a dog down the street that's always on a chain on top of a concrete porch, and it just makes me mad and stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah,
how
that's
can
sad.
anybody, it makes me sad. I'm sure they get animal control called on them every day. Not for me, but somebody. So it's not out there every day now, but it used to be. And so I get what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I get what
All
you're
life should
saying.
be respected.
All life should be respected 100%. And don't live in fear, y'all. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Okay.
another thing
Don't
too.
live
Is
in
like I
fear.
said, I've been saying some stuff about the AI supercomputer in the future and all that. It's all very scary, right? But do
Can
you
be.
think that in that timeline I was here on YouTube talking about it? I don't think I was, right? So I think that this is different, and I just feel like there's a lot of people who understand what's coming really well. That are, you know what I mean? Like not even just people like us who are into aliens and cryptids and all that stuff. They're like baseline people who they're just pragmatic, logical thinkers are also sounding the alarm on like AI and stuff. So I have hope for the future. I do. In fact, even Elon Musk himself wrote some letter like in 2018 warning about how they should pause AI and stuff. Now they're trying to build some crazy supercomputer, so I don't know where that apparently went out the window. I don't know what's going on with that, but um yes, I just don't. I don't know. I still have hope for the future. Like I don't feel trepidation. I feel more like I'm giving this information out there not to scare people, but to inform them. Does that make any sense? Like
Yes.
it's not because we can't do anything. If I thought we couldn't do anything, if I thought we were powerless, I wouldn't be on YouTube talking about this stuff. You know?
Exactly. I know, right? Well, we're doing it. We're doing whatever it is right now. And yeah, and so thank you so much, Arkeem, so much for being here tonight and for sharing your encounters and your stories and your knowledge with us. And you have written a book. Would you like to tell the audience about your book and about your
Yeah,
YouTube channel and all of
it's
that?
sure. I've got my
Okay.
book, Time and Space Unlimited by Arkheim Rods, available on Amazon, and it's just basically a short kind of like biography of my lives, just like kind of a ground up explaining the programs, cloning, time travel, how it all works, how these programs work, and also it's just some interesting stories, things that I've experienced. And yeah, I have a channel called Disclosure Now with an explanation point. I'm going to be interviewing Penny Bradley this Saturday at 2 p.m.
Pacific.
Pacific Standard Time, and that's 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I believe, right? Yeah. So
Yes, correct.
and so that's good, and we're gonna be talking about just honestly like what I'm talking like we're just talking about Elon Musk, things like that,
Yeah.
the current events, and just it's just gonna be just a kind of a random interview. I told her I'm gonna let you vent, Penny, because it feels like she has a lot of things to say, and yeah, so we're just it's gonna be a fun interview, I think, and I look forward to that, and yeah, just please check out my channel, and thank you for supporting the Cryptid Huntress, and thank you for supporting me, Jessica.
Always, always, Arkeem. 100%. I got your back no matter what. Okay. And so, yeah, well, I hope everybody enjoyed this show tonight. And I hope that everybody learned a little something tonight. And I want to thank everybody for being here. And thank you to everybody who became members of the Hunt Club tonight and for all of the super stickers. We did get another super sticker. Oh my gosh, times squared. We got another time we got somebody that has time in their name. I love that. Thank you for that super sticker so much. That's amazing. And but we had a bunch of new Hunt Club members tonight, and so thank you to everybody who gave all that support tonight. It means the world to me, and I appreciate you guys so much for being here. Thank you to my moderators for putting the links in the chat. Arkeem, your links have been in the chat all night to your channels, and your book. And so, you guys, please come back and see me this weekend. I'm going to have Greg House here from Woodwalkers on the show, along with Robbie Rains again. Robbie's going to come co-host with me, and we're going to talk Bigfoot and Dogman on Saturday night. And it's going to be a really good time. So, y'all, please come back and see me. Then, of course, I do have my Patreon if you guys want to get access to all this data from tonight over there as well. And so thank you guys so much for all the love tonight. And thanks for everybody for having an open mind about all this as well. It means the world to both Arkheim and I that you guys are here. So let's go for that highest timeline, y'all. And, just keep going forward. Okay. And don't quit. And come back and see me on Saturday. I'm always here for y'all. Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I'll be here live. And Arkheim is live on his channel pretty often as well. So y'all go see Arkheim on Saturday. Okay. All right, Arkheim, have a wonderful night.
All right. Take care, everybody. Oh, yeah, we're going to have tacos. It's going to be good.
Have a taco for me. Okay. All right, y'all. Everybody have a great night, and I will see you guys back here on Saturday. All right. See you, Arkheim. Give Kat my love. Okay. Bye, y'all.